As President Trump continues to pour on the charmed offensive with pizza and bowling tonight after meeting with key conservative leaders at the White House last night, we want to bring in two of those folks who were at the meeting, conservative leaders, David McIntosh and Beth Martin. Beth, let me start with you. You guys seemed pleased when you walked out of the White House. Of course, you were cordial, but everybody wants to know what happened inside last night.
Well, it was a good meeting. The President of the United States wanted to hear from Tea Party Patriots, from Dave's group, Club for Growth, and from a few other organizations who have very serious concerns about the bill that the House of Representatives has introduced to repeal and replace Obamacare. The President listened to our concerns, and we talked about those. There were no commitments made, but he also was not hostile in any way. I felt very encouraged by it because he wanted to speak with us. It's way more than what we've seen from the leadership in the House or the Senate over the last few years.
David, during the campaign, of course, you had some talked about run-ins with President Trump. You eventually came on board. And I feel like at this point you probably could have some pretty frank discussions with the president. Do you feel better? Do you feel like perhaps, because everyone who meets with President Trump, they're always saying, they say the same thing, the guy listens, he really does care, and it makes everyone feel like a deal can be done. Do you feel like there's room for compromise with your concerns and what you've seen thus far from the Ryan version of the repeal?
Yes, I was very optimistic in the meeting. The president, as Beth said, listened carefully to conservatives. He was a little surprised when Beth told him that nobody's consulted conservatives as they put together the key promise that the president and Republicans ran on now for 4 elections to repeal Obamacare. Sadly, the Ryan Care version does not. It keeps major portions, the tax increases, it keeps the Medicaid expansion, it doesn't force insurance companies to compete across straight lines. That's the one thing that will reduce premiums. And the president immediately got that. He said, yep, that has to be done. If we can't do it in phase 1, we'll do it later in phase 3. But I think what they heard was...
What's your main concern? What would you like to see? I mean, obviously, we know everyone's not going to get what they want. What's the one item that you want, David, that you think is a deal breaker, so to speak?
You know, I wouldn't say just one, Charles, but there are a couple really key ones. They do need to absolutely repeal all the tax increases in Obamacare. I think they've got to stop the expansion of Medicaid and then turn it into a block grant so the states can do it. And then this competition across state lines for insurance industry. You know, in many ways, this bill was written as an insurance industry bill. They kept the parts of Obamacare that let the health insurance industry make enormous profits during the Obama time. And they've got to go back and keep their promises and say, we're going to rewrite health care so it's a free market and people get lower health care and better health care.
Beth, you mentioned that you got 3,000 emails within a 48-hour period, and there were many concerns. Do you feel like the concerns of the folks in the Tea Party Patriots organization